Welcome to the Faculty Focus podcast, live from our annual Faculty Research Day with your hosts
Marleen
and
Teun,
highlighting the research of our professors and PhD researchers. Welcome back to the podcast. Joining us is PhD researcher Kayhan Ilbeigi. His topic of today is innovative strategies in the development of nucleoside-based therapeutics for animal trypanosomiasis, expanding the focus from efficacy to environmental safety. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Can you briefly introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, my name is Kayhan. I'm a PhD student at Laboratory of Microbiology, Parasitology and Hygiene at University of Antwerp. Before I studied Master of Biomedical Science, again here at University of Antwerp. And before that, I studied Doctor of Veterinary Medicine in my country before.
And what was your country before?
Iran.
Iran,
Yeah.
okay.
veterinary medicine.
Yes.
All right, nice. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here indeed. We'll start in broad. Can you explain your research to a friend who hasn't kept up with science since high school?
So my research is on drug discovery on animal trypanosomiasis, which is a neglected parasitic disease. So the parasites, trypanosomes, they are extracellular parasites they are blood parasites, so they are present in the blood, and then they can infect humans and animals. But in my case, they are animal parasites, so they can infect animals, and they can cause a lot of problems and pathology for the animals. So my research is focusing on discovering a treatment options that can somehow treat these animals.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And is it based upon your veterinary sciences education first?
Yeah, it's kind of related.
On,
it's kind of related
part?
because I was always I studied veterinary medicine, so I was always interested in animals. But now because you have also human trypanosomiasis.
Yeah, I know about the research there. Mostly focused on human before, but I'm not sure.
But now we because for human trypanosomiasis now there is a drug fexinidazole that is introduced into the market, and now it's going toward eradication. But for animals, the problem is still there because the disease is not only limited to Africa, and you have the spread of disease in different regions of the world. And the reason for that is that you have a lot of different vectors that are present on other continents or other regions that can mechanically transmit some of these parasites.
Okay.
So that's the reason you have this parasite in animals, and then the problem in animals now is quite challenging and big, so that's why.
Okay, so you answered already one of my other questions. In which countries, or you started already, which countries are the most affected by infections, and which animals maybe also?
So mostly because, it's affecting the production. For example, the milk production, so it's mostly, you would say, cattle. That is highly, because, what is important in this animal trypanosomiasis is that it gives huge economic loss to the the farmers, and they're mostly, if you think about cattle, for example, and say milk production and everything that's related to that, so it's usually affect them. So it's usually affect the economy, the society, and where it happens, it's in Africa, of course, one of the main regions that you have it, but now it's also in Asia that you can find it. In Europe, sometimes you have these outbreaks that they report, for example, with Trypanosome equiparum that affects horses, or Trypanosome evansai that affects camels, or also other species. You see some reports sometimes, but it's mostly in Asia, Africa, and South America.
Yeah,
I would say.
So actually very widespread.
Yeah, very widespread, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
So what are the challenges you face when you want to tackle animal
Trypanosomiasis?
Yes, thank you.
I know
wanted
that's
to
a
say
difficult
parasite,
word.
but
You're quite used to using the term.
Yeah, I use
I had to think.
I practice a lot in front of the mirror,
That's a good tip for the next time. Thank you.
No, so the challenge is actually the drugs that are available. So they all have limitations. There are problems for toxicity of the drugs. So we have the huge problem of emerging drug resistance that we have. So it results in treatment failure. And these are the challenges. So that's why there is an urgent need to develop new drugs that are effective across. And the problem is that it should be effective across different species, not only one, because this animal trypanosomiasis, it can be caused by different trypanosome species. If you look, for example, in T. brucei and T. vivax, they are phylogenetically distinct from each other, so they can behave differently. And then to have a compound that is active against these two is not that easy to.
Can
thing to have,
it's actually like 10 research topics in one.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow, right? Yeah, indeed. Okay. Well, you've been researching different analogs of tubercidin. Is that right?
So it's Can
you explain what that is, tubercidin, and why analog 3 is the most promising?
Oh yeah. So it's I'm not a medicinal chemist, but what I can say, tubercidin actually is known to be toxic compounds.
Okay.
But what you can do some modifications on certain on the structure of tubercidin, for example, by adding a thiol group, or I'm not a medicinal chemist, and then it can help to keep this activity against the parasites while it reduces the toxicity.
Okay.
So this is actually what these analogs, nucleoside analogs, or what's the medicinal chemists that were synthesizing this compound probably were thinking of.
So you don't lose the cow, but you lose the parasite.
Yes.
That would be the idea behind it.
Yeah. So that's exactly. So that's why actually this analog 3, or these analogs that I was explaining during the presentation, these are, we showed that they are quite safe actually.
Okay.
But while they're still very active.
Okay.
So I think that modification somehow helped.
Of course, so that's well done, right? Yeah. Okay. Maybe a broader question. The One Health principle is also key in your research. Can you give us an insight into what the One Health principle is and how it relates?
Very good question. So you have one health. You have animal, human, and environment, that they are interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So we are a member of EU Cost Action, One Health drug, one of these actions. And they're really
it's a project.
They are a group. They are a group of scientists that came together from across across Europe, from different countries, and they aim to provide life-saving drugs while safeguarding the environment. Meaning that they're gonna incorporate. The idea is to incorporate ecotoxicity testing during the preclinical drug development phase, or during the academic evaluation of a drug, which is what we did recently. So based on that, we did some collaborations, for example, with the University of Landau in Germany. So I went there for a short-term scientific mission for 1.5 months to do some ecotoxicity testing on this compound, and this was supported by this EU Cost Action. And there we tested the compounds and its potential ecotoxicity against the model organism, aquatic model organism, being Daphnia magna, which is a water flea, and Desmodesmus, which is just green algae. And then, So
you also look at the wastewater toxicology? Is that something that's included?
Not wastewater, no. We just wanted to have an indication, because we have these OECD guidelines for ecotoxicity testing. So we just wanted to have initial indications of the ecotoxicity. So that's why at least what we could do, we could still include this ecotoxicity. And I must say that at this level of Daphnia, testing against Daphnia, and for example testing against algae, it's quite straightforward and easy. But of course, for example, in case of drug discovery, if you want to go for testing against fish, because it's also one of these guidelines, so you would need a lot of compounds, and you would need fish,
of course.
And then it's a bit more expensive. It's not cheap to synthesize compounds sometimes.
No, can imagine. So your abstract, and probably your presentation as well, mentioned a lot of affiliations worldwide. Why is international collaboration so essential, and which one is vital for your research?
I would say all of them.
All of them? All right.
political answer.
Political answer. But good one, yeah. Difficult to choose to all.
Yeah. No, but really it's important because, during the preclinical drug development, you need different expertise.
True.
It's not like that you're working in a lab and then you are expert in everything.
No.
Of course. For example, I myself, or in our lab, we know something about chemistry, but like for synthesizing a compound, we're not medicinal chemists. Or for example, for doing some sort of analysis, like I mentioned, ecotoxicity, for example, testing, we don't have the facilities, we don't have Daphne, we don't have. So this is another thing. And what else I can tell you? Like, for example, we also did some collaboration inside the university with the other groups. For example, Professor Jan Sterks, who is, Professor Hans de Winter, who are like expert in dynamic simulations and docking of the target that we found with the parasite. So, we're not expert in that, so we got help from them. So I think this is very important to get the project where you want to get.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Is there some advice you would like to give to new starting PhD students?
Advice, good question. So I think the most important thing is, in research, you will always face failure, right? If you have experiments, if you want to do something, you always face failure. But the most important thing that I realized myself is that, failure is there, it should be there.
It's learning.
It's a learning process, exactly. So you will learn from it and you would make the success based on that, right?
Yeah, true.
So.
All right. Well, thank you. Indeed.
When will your PhD be finished?
Next year, summer.
Okay.
Hopefully.
We'll cross our fingers.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.